live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. From death to deathlessness. How can you move from death to deathlessness? Focus on fire. Fire is the one that purifies. When any metal goes through the fire, all that is unwanted is burned to ashes. But the truth, that is gold or the precious metal, that remains unaffected by the fire. Passing through the fire, that which is essential remains and gets purified. Therefore, focus on fire. Fire rises from lower to higher according to Jesus. It is baptism with fire. John the Baptist, while standing in the river Jordan, he used to baptize with fire. He used to baptize with water. He said that he who comes after me is mightier than me. He shall baptize with fire. So focus on fire rising through your form from toes up until the body burns to ashes. Until the body burns to ashes. Body burns, but not the essence, that is you. You do not burn. Gold, which is the essence in the metal which is put for purifying. Before any ornament is made, gold has to go through the process of fire. So all that is unwanted is burnt into ashes, but not the gold. So until the body burns to ashes, but not you, meditate on the make-believe world as burning. There is something that is, you are made to believe that there is all that you see, the world of duality, world of conflict that you see around. That is a make-believe, that it is the reality that is burning to ashes and become being ever humans. And subjectively, what happens? Letters flow into the words. Words are composed of letters. Letters flow into words and words into sentences. And as subjectively, circles flow into the worlds and worlds into principles. Find at least those convincing, those converging in our beings. As letters flow into words, words flow in sentences, and as collectively circles flow into worlds and worlds into principles, find at least these converging in our beings. All the enlightened ones, all the religions agree on one thing. Their disagreement may be and is on many things, but there is one agreement amongst all, and that is that man, because of his ego, because egocentric identity is close to reality. Because of your egocentric identity, you are close to reality. You are conditioned. You have a Hindu identity, Islamic identity, Christian identity. So because of this egocentric identity, you are close to reality. The ego is the only barrier, the feeling that I am. And that is the beginning of all the inquiry, all the journey. I am that I am. On this point, Buddhas, Christs and Krishnas all agree. And because they are all agree, it seems to me that this is the basic thing in religious endeavor and in the process of transformation. All else is accidental. This is essential, and you are debarred from your own ego. What is ego? What it is consist of? How does it arise? Why does it become so important for you? Look at your mind. Because you cannot understand the phenomena of ego theoretically, you can understand it existentially. Look at your mind, observe it, and you will come to a deep understanding. And if you can understand what the go is, there is no problem. It can be dropped easily. Really, there is no need to drop it because it is false. It does not exist at all. You think that it is there. If you can understand it, the very understanding becomes the dropping, because ego is created through your non-understanding. Ego is created through your non-understanding. It is created through your sleepiness. If you become alert about it, if you focus your consciousness towards it, it disappears. It disappears just as when you bring the light into the room, all darkness disappears. Even if you bring light to look at darkness, to see what darkness is, if you bring light, it disappears. Ego exists because you have never been alert to your existence, and this alertness is the light that comes in, that you bring into. And consciously you bring this light, this awareness, this alertness into you. It is the shadow of your ego, is the shadow of your non-alertness. So really there is no need to drop it. If you can look at it, it drops itself. From there begins. This is the beginning of the journey. Who am I? What is it? Have you ever felt any moment that there is no ego? Whenever you are silent, the ego is not. Whenever your mind is in turmoil, there is clattering, restlessness. The ego is there. Ego is the function of turmoil, inner clattering, and restless state. Whenever you are relaxed, silenced and calm, ego is not there. That is why in the moments of love making, when you are so relaxed, turmoil is not there, clattering is not there, ego dissolves. Just now, if you are silent, where do you see the ego? You will be there, but no feeling of I. So try to understand it existentially. Right now, as I am speaking, you can observe the fact. This speaking, as the words overflow, the gaps between the words is creating groups in your consciousness. Even if for a few moments you become silent, then where would you find ego? Right now, as I am speaking, you can observe the fact that at times you fall in the gaps of silence, totally alert. You are there, but occasionally there is no feeling of ego. Just the contrary happens. If you are troubled, you are in conflict, in anxiety, you feel that you are centered in ego. And you are centered in ego within you, your conditioned identity. When you are in anger, in passion, violence, aggressiveness, you feel, then ego gets crystallized and you feel crystallized ego within you. Whenever you are in love, in compassion, it is not there. That is why we cannot love. Because with the ego, with the presence of ego, with the presence of your conditioned identity, love is impossible, and you want to know why the marriages break up, why the relationship does not attain fruition. That is why we go on talking so much about love, but the seed has not blossomed in you. We are never in love, and whatsoever we call love is more or less nothing else but sex. But we have given it a covering of love. It is not love, because you cannot lose your ego, and as long as you cannot leave your ego or lose it, it is better to use the word lose it. And love cannot exist, because love can exist only when ego has disappeared. That's why in certain moments of love, your love making or sex, not every moment, in certain moments, for a fraction of a second, the ego dissolves, and then you experience the traces of love. But no sooner than it comes, it disappears. It does not remain flowing and waving into you. Love, meditation, God, they all require one thing: disappearance of ego. That is why Jesus is right in saying God is love. Because both phenomena happen when ego is not. Love happens when there is no ego. God is disappearance of ego. The drop, the moment drop leaves its ego-centric identity, it becomes oceanic, it becomes God-like. If you know love, there is no need to know God. You have known Him already because both are synonym. Love is just another name for God. If you know love, there is no need for you to go into meditation. You have gone through it already. Love is just another name for meditation. When you are earlier without love in you, you had been striving and striving hard to meditate, but it was never happening. But now, as love, the fragrance of love is spreading both within and without, everything that you do becomes meditation for you. You are cooking, you are walking, you are sitting, you are taking a shower, whatsoever you do, it has become meditation for you. If you know love, there is no need for God. You have already known Him. Love is another name for God. And if you have known love, if love has blossomed into you, the flower of love has blossomed into you, you don't need to go into meditation. Then whatsoever you are doing is meditation. Whatsoever. You are walking, it is a meditation. You are sleeping, you are talking, you are doing whatsoever, irrespective of it, is meditation. You have gone already. Love is just another name for it. So many techniques of meditation are needed, and so many teachers and so many schools of meditations are needed because there is no love. Love is enough unto yourself. So what the Master does, creates the environment for the seed of love that has remained unblossomed. Its process of growth hasn't yet begun. It tries to provide a congenial environment for the seed to sprout and begin its process. And because love is missing in you, was missing, you have to go through various techniques, this technique, that technique, and for that reason Shiva has given 112 techniques. If love has blossomed into you, you don't need any technique. If you have known love, if you have loved someone, love has blossomed into you. It has grown into a flower, a plant. Its beauty and fragrance is both within and without. Without means whenever you are dealing with anyone, it is the fragrance of love, it is the beauty of love that assumes the form of words, that assumes the form of actions, that assumes the form of songs, the words. Then you don't need any technique. Technique is needed only when there is turmoil, you are ingrained into egocentric identity. So many techniques of meditations are needed, many schools of meditation, many teachers are needed. So many schools of meditation. If love exists, there is no need to practice anything. You are living a natural and spontaneous life. Love is natural and is spontaneous. Its fragrance is infatuating. Its beauty is infatuating. Because one thing has disappeared already, and that which has disappeared is ego. So the first thing you have to understand, whenever you are silent, there is no ego. And you don't believe me, I am talking about a theory. I am not talking about a theory. It is a fact. You need not take my opinion or words. You can observe it in yourself. And there is no need to postpone it for future. Right now, you can observe the fact that if you are silent, there is no irritation. There is no limitation, with no center. You exist without a center. Ego becomes your center. You exist without a center. There is no crystallized ego, crystallized I. The presence is there. The consciousness is there. But there is no one who can say, I am. That's why the journey begins with who am I? And it ends up, I am. When you are silent, ego is not. When you are not silent, ego is there. Ego is the disease, all disease combined together. Hence the emphasis is on the surrender or disappearance of ego. Emphasis is to surrender this disease. Secondly, if in silence, for even a single moment, you have the glimpse of your existence as egolessness, and you can analyze it, you can enter, and then you can analyze, you can enter the phenomenon of ego, of what it is. Then the mind is, you will come to know that mind is accumulated past. Mind is never here. It is never now. It is always from the past. It is the storehouse of the memory. It is accumulation. It is memory. All the experience that you have gone through, all the information that you have come across, all the knowledge that you have gathered, heard, listened to, read, that is accumulated, and mind is constantly goes on accumulating. It is the greediest identity, greediest thing in you, goes on accumulating more and more. The mind is the greatest accumulator. It goes on accumulating even while you are not conscious of it. So how things are get stored into your, take for example, you have your smartphone. Certain photographs, you want to capture it, and consciously you capture it. There are things, when you look at the mail, many things come like a junk mail. The moment they see an opening of which you are not conscious, and they keep on coming into your system, phone, in thousands, in hundreds, every day. Unwanted advertisements, unwanted messages starts coming in. Unless you know the art of putting blockages for that they do not enter. The mind is great accumulator. It goes on accumulating even if you are not conscious of it. It goes on accumulating. Even while you are asleep, the mind is accumulating. You put your phone on a sleep mode, yet still things starts getting accumulated into it. And then consciously you have to delete it from the memory. And when you delete, it remains still for 1 month in the memory, and then automatically it dissolves. In your WhatsApp messages, there are the one never to delete, then delete in 24 hours. There is a time limit. Within that period it will delete. There are some that will stay in 30 days, 40 days. So something like this, if you understand the functioning of your mind's computer, things that come into the photo gallery of the mind, into the WhatsApp messages of mind, into Twitter or any other mode, any other program of mind. In many ways, your mind accumulates things. And there is no restriction about it. Consciousness, your alertness is only thing that can prevent. Now, anytime any WhatsApp message comes in, it was storing into my memory, into photo gallery, any photographs. When I had to change my iPhone, there were 40,000 plus photographs in it. To transfer, to delete, it was a great problem. Just like you are not aware how to protect the ego, I was not aware how to stop these unwanted photographs to be stored into the photo gallery. So I was told, I learned it, that you can only choose those photographs that you want to store into your memory, into your photo gallery. The rest, you can block them from automatically entering into. So your manufacturer of the smartphone device has created this device, but your manufacturer, God, has not given you that. He has given you only awareness, how to protect, how to create blockages so that unnecessary things do not enter. And just as you delete messages, when your desktop has too much messages stored, or your smartphone have too many messages stored, or too many calls into the call log, you delete them. We do it consciously, but we do not know that this is the way that we have to do those. But even if you do, You remember in a smartphone, you remove things, but they remain in although they have been deleted from the screen, but they have not been deleted from the system. So consciously, you can go on deleting it again and again. Then one day it happens that you create a natural blockages, and then they will not enter into your system. You can be hypnotized. You may not be aware of it. While you are asleep, there is a noise on the road, the mind is accumulating it. Just as when your phone is on a sleep mode, it still continues to work. You can be hypnotized in the morning and you can be asked about it, and you will say everything. You will relate everything whatsoever the mind has accumulated in the night when your mind computer was in sleep mode. It is not really in sleep mode. Just as when you put your phone on a sleep mode, it is not really on a sleep mode. If you have fallen in a coma and you are unconscious, you have fallen into a fit, the mind is accumulating. The mind does not need your consciousness to accumulate. It goes on accumulating. Even while you were in the womb of your mother, the mind was accumulating. And through hypnosis, the memories of those days when you were in the womb of the mother can be analyzed. You do not remember anything about taking birth, but the mind has accumulated it. The incidents that took place at the time of your birth, whatsoever was happening, the mind was accumulating. And now it can be awakened again. Through hypnosis, the memory can be brought again to the focus, and millions of memories are being accumulated in your mind. The aggregate, the accumulation of all these memories is mind. Memory is the mind. That's why Shankar says, Mano Buddh Ahankar Chittani Naham. I am neither the mind nor the intellect. Chit is storehouse of the memory, nor the ego sense. How is I, the ego, created? The consciousness is within you, and around the consciousness, all those memories are accumulated. On the periphery, so memories are on the periphery. They are useful, and you cannot survive without these. They are needed. But then a new thing happens between these two, and this is known as an epiphenomenon. Consciousness is within, you are within. Without the I, there is no I within. You are without a center. On the periphery, every knowledge, every experience, every memory is accumulated. This is the mind. So mind is the circumference that is drawn around the center. Around this center, choosing a point, using it as the center, you draw a circle with a certain radius. You do not draw a circle with diameter, only through a radius. And it forms a circumference. That circumference is your knowledge, your experience, your memory, all that you have accumulated. This is the mind. And whenever you look at the world, you look through the periphery. You are looking outside. This is the window. Whenever you pass through it, a new experience, you look through the memories, you have tasted something. Now all that information has come to the to the mind. Mind analyzes, tries to see if there is any parallel experience of the taste within you. And then you say, yes, I know the taste of this. I have tasted something like this. So this is the interpretation comes through the memory. When you pass through a new experience, you look through the memories, you interpret it through the memories, through that stored knowledge, you look at everything through the past. The past becomes the mediator. Constantly looking through the past, you get identified. Constantly looking through the memory, you are identified with it. And then you develop an egocentric identity. That identity is ego. Let me put it in one way. This way, the identification of conscious with the memory is ego. The identification of all that is conscious in you at that moment, when it interacts with the memory, ego is born. You say, I am a Hindu, I am a Christian, I am a Muslim. What are you doing? No one is born Hindu, Muslim or Christian. You are simply born as a human being. Then you are taught that you are conditioned to think that you are a Christian, Hindu or a Muslim. This is memory. This memory is put into you. You have been taught that you are a Christian. This is a memory. Being Christian is a memory in you. Being a Hindu is a memory in you. Whatsoever you look, and now whenever you look through the memory, you feel I am Christian, I am Muslim, I am a Hindu. But your consciousness is neither Christian nor it can be. It is simply consciousness. The screen, the canvas is empty. Whatsoever you store into it, whatsoever you paint on it, it is identified with it. On a canvas, you paint the sunrise, it is known as sunrise. So when something is painted on your empty canvas, when a Christianity is painted on your empty canvas, you are Christian. You are identified as Christian. Ego is born at that. The canvas says, I am sunrise, I am sunset, I am the ocean, the birds flying in the sky. You have been taught that you are a Christian. This teaching is accumulated on the periphery. And you live so much on the periphery that you have become completely oblivious of center, that there exists. Periphery cannot exist without a center. And center, there is nothing, just a point. Center can exist on its own, but not the periphery. Your memory cannot exist without the center, But the center can exist without periphery, your memory, your identity, your conditioned ego, your memory sense. And to create the difference between the two is the beginning of the process of enlightenment. You look through the glasses and the whole world seems colored. When you look the outside world through the Christian glasses or through Muslim glasses or the Hindu glasses, everything appears to be colored, Hindu colored, Muslim colored or Christian colored. Those glasses stick too much and too deeply with you, and you are never away from them. You never put them aside. You like to look through them. Everything that you do, everything you look through those glasses. Even when I post something, so immediately a wise man comes and says something that he is seeing through his conditioned glasses. You have become so accustomed to them that you have forgotten that there are glasses on your eyes. You say, I am a Christian. Christian is a pair of glasses. Islam is a pair of glasses. Sufism is a pair of glasses. Hinduism is a pair of glasses. But you are the center that is eternal, never born, never died. Can you say a center is born? Center is born only when you are trying to create a circle. Otherwise, you are not aware of the center. Center is spread all about. But when you want to draw a circle, you need a center. So you choose a particular point as a center. And around that center, using a particular diameter, you create a circumference. And that becomes your glasses. And with those glasses, you look at the outside world. Whenever you are identified with memory, any knowledge, any experience, any name and form, that I am born, then you are young, you are old, you are rich, you are poor, you are beautiful, you are ugly, you are educated, you are not educated, you are respected, you are not respected. You go on getting identified with things which accumulate around you, and thus ego is born. Ego is identification with the mind. That's why I said, when you are silent, ego is not there. Enough for today. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.